The college football experience, Duke Blue Devils 2025 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com with the promo code TCESGPN. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
Hey, folks, this is Bud Foster. You're listening to SGPN. Let's let it ride.
Football experience, Duke Blue Devils 2025 season preview episode. Big time era with Duke football. Look, man, youtube.com/thecollegeexperience. We're breaking down all 136 teams in the land with a solo episode for each and every team, just like we do each and every year. And I'll explain in a second, but it's a big time era in Duke football. I'm glad to see it's back where it is. Where it seems to be somewhat thriving. It seems to be, and I think this is a testament to the people, in charge of the program, because they've kind of been coach proof now. I think you could say that after 3 different coaches over the past, 5 years or 6 years, and a lot of winning seasons. You've gotten 3 straight winning seasons. Obviously, the final 3 years of Cutcliffe were a little down, but before that they had great success, obviously playing for ACC championships and stuff. So I think it's been a good era for Duke football, and I'm excited to talk about the year coming. So if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick, this is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Yes. Exciting times, in my opinion, in Durham, North Carolina. Really exciting times. I was very, very impressed with this team a year ago. So let's go. Some say it's quarterback you. Well, you got a lot of great quarterbacks have come through Durham, North Carolina, and Wallace Wade Stadium. I am joined by my co-host. He is the host of the college basketball experience with me. When the season goes live, we're live every single night of the season there, just like we are with football here. So give it up for former staffer at Austin Peay with the Governors, South Carolina with the Gamecocks, and West Virginia with the Mountaineers, Ryan McIntyre, aka Moneyline Mac. How are you, brother?
What is up, man? Yeah, definitely trending upward for this Duke program. Not just basketball anymore, football school.
Mac tonight. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
Amen. It had a great baseball season too. Dude, I'm excited, man. This is an exciting era to me. The amount of money that it's fitting that the computer. So we're breaking down 136 teams, and if people have been wondering why we have gone in the order we have, well, for years we've been doing this show and we'd go A to Z or conference by conference, but someone always complains if you're a West Virginia fan, Wyoming fan, something like that. You got to wait all the time. So I thought, let's put it in a randomizer. And ironically, it gave us these two back to back. And I think there's some parallels here. Now, Texas Tech, we just did. Go listen to that episode. They have endless money coming in the program. But in a similar vein, Texas Tech used to not throw that much money into football, and they are now. And Duke, a similar thing. And it seems like they're really going all in. And I think it's very, very exciting. I plan to hit a few games this year, and I just think fantastic stuff for Duke fans and the ACC in general. I think Duke is reading the room on how football is changing college sports, and I'm here for it, man. Duke's got a rich history in football. If you really look through all the years, and I'm glad to see them back putting it up with putting a big amount of effort into it, because they should. They have a great stadium, great area of the country. So yeah, where are you at with Manny Diaz and this Duke Blue Devil program?
I mean, completely overachieved year one. Not only do you lose Elko, but you lose Riley Leonard. So, I mean, who played for a national championship with Notre Dame. Obviously, Elko goes over to A&M. Elko had the 2 really good years there. But Manny Diaz comes in, goes 9-4. Defensively, they were really good. Quarterback play probably held them back. So what they do? They went out and got maybe the top quarterback in the portal with a nice bag of cash.
Yes, and Sam in the chat, come be a part of the chat, youtube.com/the college experience. Does Duke have a healthy NIL program? They do. And then let's just jump right into it, man. Obviously academics play a role. Yeah. They're not going to be like some schools, but there's a blueprint for this, in my opinion. And then Cutcliffe kind of laid the foundation, but Elko and Diaz seem to be following that. And and let's talk a little bit about Manny Diaz, because and let's start the slideshow here. Hop on over. Look, this is a coach that in 2020 and 21 was at Miami. He was 8-3. He was not 17-5. He was 7-5 in 21. Yeah, they did not play a 22-game season. I'm just a moron. He's 30-19 overall as a head coach, but year one at Duke, 9-4, super impressive. And I know what you could say, and I have to be fair to what I've said on other episodes, Mac. Whereas I have like Arizona State's preview. Remember we did Arizona State's preview, and I was on the under with Arizona State because I said I just think they're due for regression. They won so many damn close games last year, right? So many. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I know that was a thing that I mentioned on that show. Well, Duke won a slew of close games last season as well. You look at it, you got a double overtime win against Northwestern on the Lake, a 4 or a 5-point win against UConn. That was a good UConn team. A 1-point win against Carolina in a fucking classic. They were down like 20-0, came back, won 21-20. A 7-point win against Florida State. They did lose a heartbreaker to SMU in a game they probably should have won. But then they beat the Hokies by 3, Wake Forest by 6. So I can see making a case saying, dude, is that sustainable? But either way, 9-4 in year one for Manny Diaz is awesome. I heard him talk recently on the ESPN Live podcast, and I think they got the right guy for the job. And I didn't see when he got hired, I was like, what? I didn't see that one coming. So I'm going to say that it's a better hire than I realized. I think moving forward, I think he's the right guy for the job. So what do you make of 1 year into his tenure in Durham?
Yeah, I mean, completely overachieved. And to put his Miami tenure in perspective, Mario Cristobal's 22-16 in 3 years. Manny Diaz was 21-15, and they were not investing nowhere near as much as they have for Cristobal with this last year team.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, Manny Diaz, I think he's done a good job. He obviously had the short stint at Penn State as well as the defensive coordinator. So they probably are due for a little bit of regression, but their roster is also better this year than last year.
That's what I'm saying, man. Let's jump into this. So the offense, Jonathan Brewer's the OC. Last season, the offense wasn't setting the world on fire. 78th in scoring offense, 44th in pass offense, 127th in rush offense, and 108th in total offense. Malik Murphy was very, very inconsistent. Yeah. The run game was terrible. The O-line play, because they all showed up in late August, or mid-August, whatever it was. Mac, I think this offense is going to be something, because they went out in the portal and they got Darian Mensah from San Luis Obispo, California, who was at Tulane last year. I watched Tulane very closely last year. I think I follow the AAC more than most because East Carolina's there. I am sold on him being awesome. I think this is a gigantic upgrade. I think this is one that Duke just stays with good quarterbacks, man. I think this is a major upgrade, like a major upgrade. I really think this dude was super, super impressive last season. And the fact he can run the ball too gives them an element that I think can open up that entire offense. I actually want to say, like, and this is the one allegedly that like had Nico demand more money from Tennessee or whatever. Who knows? But I think he's the real deal. I think he's better than Nico. Like I think they got themselves a stud quarterback, and I'm very excited about this offense with him in it. Have you had a chance to really dive into Mensah at Tulane last year?
Yeah, I mean, just his second start against K-State, he almost led the Green Wave to a win over a Big 12 team, and I thought he got better and better throughout the year. I mean, 22-6. I don't think the country knows how good he is yet, just because he was playing at Tulane. A lot of those games are on ESPN, ESPNU, ESPN2. So he's going to get more showcase, and I think with the better offensive line here, with Duke going into next year, I think he's going to thrive in this offense.
Yeah, and let's talk about what else they returned. They returned Jacquez Moore, a running back that's rushed for over 1,100 yards in his career and 11 touchdowns, as well as they went out in the portal and brought in Andrel Anthony, a receiver from Michigan and Oklahoma. So very experienced there. And then Quishon Brown is back at the wide receiver spot, and same with Sahmir Hagans. And then 4 of 5 back on the O-line, Mac. I actually think this offense is going to be way better than a season ago. Those numbers right here of 108th, I think they're going to cut this thing in half, dude. I think they're going to be a pretty damn good offense with all these pieces returning. I like Jacquez Moore. I think Anthony can be a receiver that could really help. You got Brown and Hagans on the outside too. They also went to the portal and so returning 4 of 5 on the O-line. They went to the portal. They can't use the portal like most teams and bring in 50 fucking guys because the academics. But Mensah obviously comes in. I touched on Anthony coming in from Oklahoma at the receiver spot. They brought in Anderson Castle, a running back from App State. Cooper Barkate from Harvard, who I think was pretty decent there. Landen King, a tight end from Utah. And Jordan Larson from South Dakota. That's probably the one I like most, because South Dakota's offensive line was pretty good. So I am buying in that the offense is going to take a big, big jump this year, Mac. How about you?
Yes, I will. First off, quarterback play more consistent. We touch on it. Murphy was up and down. You bring back all those offensive linemen, and it's also year 2 of Jonathan Brewer, who was at SMU before this. So been a part of good offenses and part of the Lashley tree. So, yeah, I think Duke will take a huge step offensively this year.
Let's talk about the defense, because I think if you're a Duke fan, and I mean, this is Manny Diaz's forte. He's a defensive guy. I think if you're a Duke fan, this was, I think, the thing most impressive about a year ago. And the numbers don't even really reflect it personally. I think they're way better than these numbers personally. 60th in scoring defense, 53rd in pass defense, 68th in rush defense, 58th overall in total defense for Jonathan Patke. Dude, they returned some studs, and this is their NIL is, I think this is the biggest thing they did with their NIL besides Mensah. They kept all these studs in Durham. Trust me, people came calling. This is one of the better corners in the nation. Chandler Rivers, back. He'll be playing on Sundays, right? Terry Moore, back. He'll be playing on Sundays. And don't sleep on Wesley Williams, the DN. I mean, really bringing back 3 on the D line, Trey Freeman back in the linebacking core, your kicker and punter back, but in the secondary, Chandler Rivers and Terry Moore back. I really like this defense, dude. I think this defense is going to be pretty fucking good this year. And the fact that this is what I mean is, like, they get more creative with their NIL. They're not like Texas Tech going to get every damn player. They're just keeping their guys on their roster. Which I think is another approach to doing this. Kenny Dillingham kind of touched on that today at Big 12 Media Days. I think this defense is going to be much better statistically, but I also think it's going to be one of the best defenses in the ACC. How about you?
Yes, and it's another year, just like on the offensive side with Diaz. His units jumped up from year 1 at Miami to year 2 at Miami defensively, and then also his 2 years at Penn State. I thought they took a big jump in their second year with that defensive unit. So yeah, I why would it not happen at Duke with 6 returning starters and especially those studs on the back end?
Yeah, I'm buying stock, man. I'm buying stock on like that they have. I almost feel like they have more good defensive players than almost every team in the ACC. Maybe Miami or Clemson or something would be the epitome of.
Clemson's got all those pros.
But I'll put them right after that, man. They have some real dudes on the defense side of the ball. Folks, we're going to talk more about these Duke Blue Devils, but before we do that, I want to let you know that we are brought to you by Circa Millions and Circa Survivor. Yes, think you know ball, then you have to enter Circa's football contest with $21 million in guaranteed prizes. There is no rake, so if entries go above the guarantee, all that extra money will go to the prize pool. Circa Millions, you pick 5 NFL teams to get the spread each week, or go for the ultimate sweat in Circa Survivor. There's even a Circa Grandissimo for $100K Survivor contest as well there. You must register in person at Circa Sportsbook in Nevada, Las Vegas. Great excuse to book a trip to Vegas. Sign up in Nevada, but you can play from anywhere with the help of SGPN's official proxy. Go to footballcontest.com and use the promo code SGP to get $50 off your proxy fees. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. Yes, MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the MLB, CFL, I mean, all the summer sports, WNBA, golf, tennis, and of course, college football and NFL futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations as well. Even outside of the States, you could easily deposit, get lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head on over to mybookie.ag and use our promo code TCESGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back. Mac, I'm wearing like a classic 90s. You remember this style in the 90s, like the coaches would wear?
It's a Duke shirt.
Yeah. It's got like this crazy fucking like design, like almost like, what were those pants in the, I mean, you're a little younger than me, but there was like a style.
Ones?
What's that?
The one the Hoosiers wore?
No, similar vein, but it was like the Bengals helmet on pants. I forget what they were called in the 90s that were like everyone, like all the football players would, do the ads for them. Like I remember Dan Marino commercial, and it's like, it looks like the Bengals helmet, but like on a pants design. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on it right now. Chat, can you help me out here? You know what I'm talking about. Zubas. There we go.
Zubas.
There we go. That was the style in the 90s. Look, I think the roster's pretty good. I think the coaching staff's pretty good. They did lose Willie Simmons, their running backs coach, to FIU. But he took the head coaching position there. But yeah, all of this has to do with state of the program. And I am a big fan of the stadiums. We've been on a roll, and it comes to an end tomorrow, thankfully, because it was almost starting to sound ridiculous. Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, North Carolina is awesome. It's part of the state of the program, man. And by the way, don't forget, Duke added 3 guys there. Josiah Green from fucking Dartmouth, Jaden Francois from Utah State, and safety Caleb Weaver from Sam Houston. I like the Weaver kid. Wallace Wade Stadium, Mac, 96 years young. 96 years young. This thing once hosted the Rose Bowl. This thing is fire, dude. And part of Duke this is why Duke is caring about football. Is for a little bit it started to deteriorate and they weren't throwing the money in it. They threw the money in it, much like Texas Tech we just talked about. Mac, this is, to me, it's just everything that a classic stadium is. It's got the old bowl, like all those stadiums from that era have that bowl look to it. And this is certainly one of them. And I love this stadium, dude. I think it's a great football stadium, and I'm glad they threw money in it to protect it. I'm giving this a 9 of 10. This is why this is so much this is so much better than Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
The
Like,
Panthers.
yeah, this is honestly, it's like one is a classic look. It just has soul and history and everything that's good about it. About a football stadium, and then like Bank of America Stadium, which is and the worst part about it is Bank of America is probably like one of the better NFL stadiums. But I really like this stadium, dude. I think it's a gem in college football. That's the new look at that. They threw in money to that press box, and they made it retro. That looks like a fucking retro fucking press box. It's awesome. Love the shrubbery we got in the bottom right hand corner. The bricks. I mean, come on, dude. They know what the fuck they're doing. And this is why this is another degree, another layer of why college football is awesome, is they protect their history. And I love the fact you're playing on the same field as Sonny Jurgensen and fucking Mike Mad Dog Curtis. You know, what do you give this thing 1 to 10?
I think I'm gonna go 8. I think it's a really solid stadium. But I mean, the ones we've been doing have been unbelievable. So maybe I got spoiled by those. But I do like their stadium.
You want a hot take? I like this more than Penn State's.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
You just, only because of that one graphic.
But I also think Penn State's look. It looks like the look at the old Rose Bowl photos, by the way, and the old Duke football photos.
I love Penn State.
Well, no, Penn State's has a look of like the Meadowlands to me, which because it was built in the 60s. So like the overall design of the stadium, like even though I know their fan base is awesome and within it, it's good. This is like you're seeing some shit like that. This is like going to Cooperstown and to the Baseball Hall of Fame or something, or like, you know, this is like of just a vintage antique stadium that is in college football. That's why I like it more than a lot. Look at that. That's the old press box. So they made it way better. You can see their Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, ACC champs.
When did they move the track?
That was in the past like 15 years.
Yeah. The track was there in like 2012, I want to say.
No, you're right. Because the Alabama was one of the only non-con road games Saban put on the schedule. And that's the new Devil's Deck that they have there. But dude, Ohio State had a track too not that long ago. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these schools did have the track. Look at that though. To me, this is a better looking stadium from an architectural point of view than Penn State's. Just FYI. That's my feelings. Everyone would disagree,
but it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, Penn State's to me is awesome. Don't get me wrong, but once you get in there, I'm talking about from the outside, the look of Duke's is a better look. It's a classic stadium. Love the fact they hosted the Rose Bowl there, and I think they've come a long way. Duke does classic stadiums, man. Look at all their stadiums there. Cameron Indoor and shit. Look, this is the entrance to the football, man. It's fucking great. So, I'm telling you, I think you're sleeping on it with that 8. Maybe it's your hate. Maybe it's your Duke hate, buddy.
Yeah, maybe it's Cameron Indoors spraying on this.
And look at that. You got like a goddamn forest out there. It's like App State's almost.
I will say Cameron Indoors a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, then why would you? That's the same logic, dude. Same. Cameron Indoors is like I've been to Cameron Indoor. It's like a high school stadium, but it's awesome.
Like that's a one of one in college,
dude. But that's kind of what this is in a way. This is a very classic. This is like it. Honestly, looks similar to the Rose Bowl, the way the stadium is designed, and I think that's why I like it more personally. I mean, I'm just talking. Look, yeah, Rob Donald said. Penn State fans can come for me. I'll put it over a bunch of stadiums that people think are great. You know what I mean? Like this shit is a good football stadium, a very good football stadium, and I hope they continue to protect this thing. Yeah, 9 of 10. I'll see you out there. All right, meet me on the gridiron. Let's go.
I figured out. You're a local now. You know they're twisting.
Always loved it, dude. Even in LA, I was loving it. I was like, dude, that's a fucking gem that they have. Look, there's Carter Finley and Keenan Memorial. The whole state of North Carolina does really good college football stadiums, but short of Kid Brewer, this is probably my favorite. This is better than ECU Stadium. You know, I'm telling you right there. You hear what I just said? This is better than ECU Stadium. I like it more. So there you go. And look, you got fucking statue of Wallace Wade. Let's go.
How many photos are we gonna have on the ECU slideshow?
Yeah, we're gonna go deep, dude. Deep. Storm the field as always. Duke fans need a reminder. Storm the field. That is the sport. That's what you pay for. It's your crazy enrollment. All right. That's part of the privilege of being a college athlete. And we don't want the game to be corporate NFL/NBA trash. Storm the court.
You need to tell this fan base to storm the court. You need to remind them.
Yeah, look at that. That's a great fucking stadium, dude. You're sleeping on that stadium. That's a great fucking stadium. All right, so we got to do state of the program. I'm intrigued to see what you put as state of the program. Let's jump into this. I give it an 8 of 10 right now with the way they're starting to throw money in there. I'll be honest too. I did not see that coming. I did not see the influx of money to football coming. Maybe a little bit because I thought like conference realignment, you don't want to get left behind. But I'm so glad to see Duke spending money on football. Mac, what do you give this thing 1 to 10?
I think 8's perfect because it's also not just 1 year of Manny Diaz, but what Elko was able to do right before that, and Cutcliffe as well. So yeah, I mean, definitely in a good spot, as good as Duke has ever been, and the ACC's kind of wide open outside of Clemson. So I mean, why can't they continue to contend? And them in North Carolina, a little bit of an arms race right now.
Yeah, Chapel Bill. Let's jump into the schedule. But before we jump into the schedule, want to let you know, college football experience, Duke Blue Devil Styles, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million in first place. There's no waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. So sign up, and when you do, use our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Yes, you probably heard us talk about Rhythm before. They just dropped a game-changing new feature called Power Trends. These are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a very high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm and Rhythm only. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets, baby. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. Get your free 7-day trial period today. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/rhythm. All right, we are back. I'll be a part of the chat. I see the chat shitting on me for my take. Look, one of the things that bothers me is a stadium, in my opinion, has nothing to do with how much you fit in your fucking stadium. It's just the aura that you fucking set it up with. I mean, yeah, it's cool sometimes when you see like you look at photos of LSU's Tiger Stadium, you're like, how the fuck they put that many people in there, right? But to me, it has nothing to do with that. Like Duke Stadium's a fucking classic. Let's get to the schedule. Oh boy,
They're running it back with Elon again.
Elon's a solid FCS. This is where Signetti had some dominance. This was a game last year. NC Nick reminded us that for the first half, this was a little dicey last year.
It was.
The series goes back 105 years. Duke will be 1-0. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I would imagine it's a little easier. Year 2, Diaz can at least throw on that film of the first half because I remember that. I mean, it was a lucky ass cover for Duke, if I remember correctly. It was backdoor, or Elon covered on the field goal. It was one of the
Elon
two.
covered on the field goal, I think.
Elon,
or maybe it was blocked. I don't remember, but
yeah,
I do remember it was high drama in the final seconds for the cover.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I was like, man, Duke's not going to be good. And then, yeah, they turned it on after this game last year. But yeah, 1-0.
Well, and remember, they got all those transfers late in August.
Yep.
So yeah, let's go. Next up. This game's awesome. I think I'm going to be at this game. There's a decent shot I'm going to be at this game. Illinois heading to Wallace Wade Stadium. Series goes back to 1958. I think it's a dangerous ass game for Illinois, dude. Here's why I think it's so dangerous. What Illinois likes to do, I think Duke can disrupt. Illinois likes to be a power football team. I think Duke has the D line to kind of fuck with them, dude. Man. Give me an upset. Give me Duke.
Would this even be that big an upset?
I think the Illini will be favored.
2.5, I bet. I bet you they're favored by like a field goal. Yeah, I had to circle for Duke because everything we said about Duke, we could say about Illinois. Illinois won all those one-score games as well last year. Now they're the hunted on the road as a favorite. Yeah, give me Duke, home dog here to get it done.
I mean, this is a game. This is going to be a game. This is one of the low-key, really good games week 2. I fully expect this to be like 23-20, you know, final seconds game. So I don't have strong conviction with it, but I do think Duke's quarterback's going to be able to give them problems. I think Duke's defense can negate some of the style that Bielema likes to play with his football teams. 2-0.
2-0.
Then they head to New Orleans in the Mensah Bowl. Series goes back to 1964. And Jacob, I don't know that Duke has that Illinois has the better quarterback. I think that'll be an interesting thing to watch. I'm going to take Duke, dude. But I do think this will be this place is going to be lit. This place is going to be lit for the fact that Mensah left for Duke, because I think their fan base feels like, dude, it's one thing if you leave for Alabama, but you left for Duke. So this is high drama. But I will take Duke to win this.
It's a primetime game.
Well, it's a great game. I mean, I'll maybe I'm a little crazy and Duke should have one loss here, but I'm going to say 3-0.
I got them pulling the upset against Illinois. That I think they go on the road as a favorite, and I think Tulane beats Mensah. I think they almost got K-State last year. I know
should have gotten K-State.
Yeah, I know Mensah was their quarterback, but Tulane always reloads. Give me Tulane in the upset here. 2-1 for the Blue Devils. All
right, 3-0 for me, and then the Pussy Pack come to town. Okay, how about this? This is a rivalry, 101 years old. Okay, someone is going to beat Duke by this point. Whether it's Illinois, whether it's Tulane, or whether it's NC State, chalk me up to one loss. One loss by here. Even though I'm not particularly high on NC State because they're going to lose week 1.
Who they got?
They got this one school in Greenville, North Carolina. You might have heard of them.
We believe in the virus, in the spirit of ECU.
But look, I'm just gonna say they're gonna have one loss here. I don't know who it's gonna be. 3-1, 4 games in. What are you doing here?
I'll have them bounce back, beat NC State. NC State is out without Gibson, so I'm interested to see what they look like defensively.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they could be 4-0. Like, I almost feel like they'll be dogs against Illinois, but I think they'll be favored in these 2 matchups. I think they'll be favored against Tulane. I think they'll be favored against NC State. Next up, they head to that horrible Carrier Dome bullshit. Bring back Archbold Stadium, please. Series goes back to 1938. Fran Brown just landed a 5-star. Cuse, Duke, in that filthy dome. I have no idea who's winning this fucking game.
It's a hilarious game.
I mean, I think Duke's a better football team, but Syracuse has got a nice home edge. Give me Duke. 4-1.
I'll take you to Cuse. Fran Brown, he's good in that dome, man. Unless he plays Stanford.
They got kind of killed in the portal a little bit, though, dude.
Yeah, but I trust I trust him. I think that they'll still be a tough out at home.
I mean, I don't have strong conviction to taking Duke. I just think Duke is a better football team than Syracuse, a little more complete. But could they lose this game? 100%. 4-1 for me though. 3-2 for Mac. Then they head to Berkeley. This game they will lose because you go cross country to Berkeley, California to drop acid. Legendary California Memorial Stadium. Series goes back to 1962. All right, give me a second loss by now. What are you doing here?
I got them dropping back to back. I think this is a tough spot out there in Cal. And I mean, we were higher on Cal with their coaching hires than most. So yeah, I got 3-3.
I got them 4-2. Then they get a nice bye week. Look at Spurrier. People forget Spurrier was and Biff Poggi was there with him too. Can you believe that? At Duke, Biff Poggi and Spurrier. They come out of the bye week. And the Georgia Tech, this game is awesome, by the way. Georgia Tech at Duke. Series goes back to 1933. This is just the type of game Georgia Tech would lose to. I'm gonna take Georgia Tech, but like history tells me that like Georgia Tech beats Clemson or something and they lose this game. What did I say on the Georgia Tech preview? Did I have them losing this? I think I had them losing this.
Yes, because we had them both 6-0.
Yeah. All right. Duke win.
Yeah.
5-2.
And they got the bye week. Yeah. Yeah. Give me Duke on the home upset here.
That's a really good game. Then they get a bye week again. Look at Sonny Jurgensen as a Duke Blue Devil. Fucking slinging Sonny. Not Sammy. Slinging Sonny. They come out of the bye week and they head to Clemson, South Carolina. Series goes back to 1934. They beat Clemson the last time they played. Remember, they stormed the field. They're going to lose this game, though.
Yeah, they're not winning at Clemson. 4-4 for me. It's a tough schedule.
5-3 for me. Then they follow that up with a trip to Hartford. I think this game is actually one of the more. What are they doing? Who's making your goddamn schedule?
Why
you
did
play
they
Illinois and then you play at 2 group of 5s, at Tulane and at UConn? It's gonna be cold. This shit is gonna be cold as hell. What's the date on this? Is this November? It's November 8th.
Yeah, November 8th. Why did they have 2 buys on each side of Georgia Tech?
It's like a max schedule. UConn probably should have beat them last year. If you watch that game, UConn had the lead late. This is a sneaky game to me. Give me UConn.
Yeah, Mensah up there in the cold. Yeah, we saw what happened when he played Army. Give me UConn.
UConn won 8 games last year. They're a solid team, man.
Yeah, and they're they get an ACC team coming to them at home. Hell yeah, UConn.
That puts me at what? What are we at right there? We're 9 games in. I'm at 5-4, I think.
Yeah, I'm 4-5.
Then the Wahoos of Virginia come to town. The series goes back to 1890. I got the Blue Devils winning this one. I don't know about Tony Elliott if he'll even be coaching Virginia at this point, but give me Duke to get this one to get bowl eligible. What are you doing here?
Yep, 5-5 for the Dukies for me.
Then they head to Chapel Hill in a series that goes back to 1888. Holy shit. They even have electricity back then. North Carolina is on the same level as Oklahoma State and Colorado. I think Duke's a much better team. Like on paper, when I write down I'm taking Duke. I might change. This is one I will say nominate for potential Benedicting. I just don't know what the fuck North Carolina is going to look like.
Yeah.
I think Duke has guys, man, that will be like, when I look at each position, I'm like, Duke's roster is better right now than North Carolina's, at least as far as I can tell. like I said, Carolina's had some talent there. Mac Brown was recruiting at a high level. Maybe Belichick can make that shit work. But I like Duke's team better based off of what I can break down. So give me Duke to go into Chapel Hill and get that dub.
And I mean, they should have won in Chapel Hill 2 years ago. I know probably Carolina should have won at Duke last year. I'll take a road team finally here in the schedule. Give me Duke to beat Carolina in Chapel Hill.
So that puts me at 7-4. You're at what?
6-5, bowl eligible.
Yeah. And then they end the season with Wake Forest coming to Wallace Wade Stadium. Series goes back to 1889. I got them winning this, man. I got this team 8-4, and one of those losses being in the non-con. So I think there's a decent shot they could play for the ACC championship here, Mac. Especially if they lose to Tulane or Illinois and it's not NC State, you could be talking about a scenario where they only have one ACC loss, and that is to Clemson or Cal. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
Cal's a weird opponent, but I got them 8-4, man. I feel pretty good about it too. Like, I actually think, well,
it's a hard schedule, man.
The win total was 6.5. I would set this though. I think it should be 7.5 personally. I think they're off on Duke.
I mean, they have 6 hard road games.
Yeah. So they're plus 3,100 to win the ACC, plus 1,300 to make the CFP. There's the bird's eye view of the schedule here. I mean, you do have 6 road games, and all 6 teams went to a bowl last year. I just think it's still like, I still feel like they're better than some of these teams though, man. I think they could get to the ACC championship. Now, I'm not saying they're definitely going to, but I think it's worth sprinkling that, because if they don't play Florida State, they don't play Miami, they don't play Louisville. So like, they get Georgia Tech and Clemson. But I think that if they go 1-1 there and just take care of business against the other ACC foes, then who gives a shit about the Illinois, Tulane, and UConn games? You know, like if they lose the UConn, no harm, no foul. You can almost treat it like a bye week, right? I know they're not going to do that, but I'm just saying, like, in a way, I like the fact that like they draw, like Wake seems to be a team you won on the schedule.
Yeah,
Virginia is a team I think you won on the schedule. The Pussy Pack, I think you won on the schedule. I feel pretty good about the over, dude. I mean, what's the ceiling here? What is the ceiling? What is the absolute, like, at Clemson we know 100% a loss. To me, every other game is winnable. I'm not going to say 11-1 though. I think the ceiling's 10-2.
I was going to say 9-3. They handle business at home and then they split those road games. Because I mean, the Syracuse and Cal road trips are just so tricky, and so is UConn.
I still feel like, I mean,
why are they playing UConn and Tulane on the road?
It is a bad scheduling job by playing 2 group of 5s on the road. But at the same time, like, if you're asking me, like, judging the rosters, okay, you can make a case that Illinois is a more talented roster. Georgia Tech, Clemson, I think they're the 4th most talented roster on this schedule. So, like, that right there should put them at 9-3. If they lose to teams that you could say they're more talented than, if they beat the teams they're more talented than, is my point, they would go 9-3. I like this over, dude. I feel pretty good about it. I'm gonna lock this. I'm
staying away from this one.
I think Mensah is such an upgrade at the quarterback spot that I think they'll be so much better than last year.
Why did they sign themselves up for 2 Super Bowl spots on the road?
True. I think that is tricky, but
Tulane and UConn, those are their Super Bowls.
They should have replaced that shit. They should have like Ball State on there in Durham.
Anybody. Yeah, fuck. As for Stanford, Do UVA and NC State are doing. As for another ACC, we'll play Stanford.
But yeah, that's true. But I'm not as high on like Syracuse as you are. I don't think. Like I think Syracuse is kind of. They lost a shit ton of production and they lost their best guys in the portal. One of them just hopped in the other day too. The Georgia Tech game is huge. That week 8 Georgia Tech game. Yeah, Brandon Sirk saying Mensah is the real deal. I'm telling you, I think he is too, man. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the country. Especially if he takes a step forward. Now here's how we burn that. He's learning a brand new offense. If they lose to Illinois week 2 and Tulane gets them week 3, and then there is a scenario where like if it ain't working, then the Pussy Pack come to town. Who knows? That's a rivalry game. So you could be sitting there at 3-3 or something, but or 3-4. But I feel pretty good. Here on the over, man. I'm locking this over. Let's go. Oof. Over 6.5 wins. I think that D line is a little slept though, man. I think it's a really, really good defensive unit. So, let's go. All right. What was your final record?
I'm 7-5, but I mean, like I gave him Illinois and Georgia Tech at home. That's where I'm like. I think it's.
You also had them lose to UConn. Like, I get it.
They barely beat UConn last year.
I get it, but I think this team is a lot better than last year's Duke. But yeah. I could also see them losing at UConn too. Yeah, I don't know. And Brian's got a good stat here. You know, Duke has the best record in the ACC at home over the past 3 years.
It makes sense. Who'd they lose to? Notre Dame that one time?
And that doesn't count as an ACC game, right?
Oh, yeah. SMU, they should have beat SMU last year. That was their only one score.
That's a fascinating nugget. Between two different coaches, they have the best home record. That's a fascinating nugget right there. I heard that a couple months ago. That was a great stat. Yeah, I'm taking the over. Let's go. Let's ride. All right. I think that offense has weapons too, with Brown, Anthony, and Hagans, with Mensah and Moore. I'm fascinated by seeing that week 2 game against Illinois. Huge. We're both on the over. I'm gonna lock up the over. 6.5. I got you 7 wins right here. All right, folks, that's our show. We will be back tomorrow talking Northwestern. Can I give that stadium? What stadium does that count for? Because the new one sucks, but the current one's awesome and the old one's amazing. So the Lakeside Stadium, I feel like we just
10
for sure. We're also going to talk Coastal Carolina football down there at Brooks Stadium, where I stormed the field back in November. All right, see you tomorrow. And I am selling you more on that. See, I told you guys were sleeping on that fucking stadium. The whole chat was hating on Wallace Way. That's a great fucking stadium. I'll fight anybody on that. All right. See you tomorrow, folks. All right.
Tomorrow, you said?
Northwestern and Coastal Carolina. Couldn't
very opposites.
Couldn't be further apart culturally. One university's football program was started with Hooters money. The creator of Hooters, Tim Brooks, said, "Hey, I want a football program. Right here, slap this girl's ass, and let's start this football. Let's shake on this girl's ass, right?" And then you have Northwestern, that they fire Pat Fitzgerald because some guy mooned someone else in a locker room, and someone says there's a flying squirrel out there. Who knows, right? What a world we live in. See you tomorrow, folks. Enjoy the slideshow honoring Duke football history, which has a rich history back in the day. Till next time, this is the college football experience, Duke Blue Devil style. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
One. Let's get one.
I'm not saying I'm impossible to outsmart my body and soul, and nothing without heart. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outrun my body and soul, and nothing without love. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outdo my body and soul. saying it's impossible, but you're nothing without yourself. We're the obsession to be a part of that, started that. Mind over matter don't matter in the market. I've seen much smarter cats have heart attacks, largely cause leaders need lambs to be lethargic. Match wits with the half-wit phantom. I don't need jumper cables or mic cords to analyze an analytical anthem. Between my two ears, an engine pumping the life force. Force field for your grip on the grievance. Still gonna feel unchallenged and bored stiff. So arrange the pieces to prepare cohesive. All the hard work will go largely ignored if your hands are covered with post-its and paper cuts. You need to have your voice in the vice grip. The one who made it famous ain't the one who made it up. You don't get overtime just for working the night shift.
I'm taking a pitch right now. It's like
I'm not saying I'm impossible to outsmart mind, body, and soul, or nothing without heart. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outrun mind, body, and soul, or nothing without love. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outdo mind, body, and soul, or nothing without truth. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're nothing without yourself. Every time I close my eyes, I'm taken to the same place, a playing field, and every contestant's got the game face. Everybody's yelling, you ought to play it safe. Make sure them shoes are tied and ankles tape. Shake the cobweb, hit the ground running. This is how cunning I can get with the footwork. You're doing it right, well, it shouldn't hurt. Flirt with greatness, still I run the famous. Nice high heels, I got mics for spikes. Trampling the home team and the turf for life. For the few fleet of foot, too fast for me. I fear none, cause I run and ignore the pair of feet by the tree that are fast asleep. In love with the game, you adore the head. I believe in achievement. My soul isn't rewarded just cause it sees a goal and moves toward it. I'm not saying I'm impossible to outsmart mind, body, and soul, or nothing without heart. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outrun mind, body, and soul, or nothing without love. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outdo mind, body, and soul, or nothing without truth. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're nothing without yourself. Conspiracy theories, gotta love them clearly. Nothing's more entertaining than entertaining a query. Just the words of the wise and the weary. Recognize the authors of reality and theory. Theoretically, I could have won Scribble Jam. In reality, I lost to a legend. Theoretically, I'm best friends with Uncle Sam. In reality, I've never even met him. Now one day my potential may become reputation. Until then, I'm still a work in progress. I suggest you question what I'm saying. If anything, to become familiar with the process. My agenda may suit your needs. When I say your Bill of Rights has been ripped to shreds, but if it defends what you believe, hold dear to your truths and scream fuck seeds. I'm not saying I'm impossible to outsmart mind, body, and soul, or nothing without heart. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outrun mind, body, and soul, or nothing without love. And I'm not saying I'm impossible to outdo mind, body, and soul, or nothing without truth. And I'm not saying it's impossible.